if you're relying on like the product to save you from your skill level, you're
right.
You're very confused.
Right.
And you're looking for an excuse for why you suck. Hell yeah. This is the mini-sode with Little Josh Lawyer.
I'm little Sergio Lopez.
And normal-sized MJ.
Which is little.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, we just finished our last episode, but I guess we'll bring up your one topic before we go through our standard.
You guys have regular mini-sode stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll
sorry,
figure it out.
Thanks for listening.
I'm behind. Sorry.
No, it's cool. So
Do you want me to
you had your one question.
Okay, so based off of the last episode, or this most recent episode, my question, yes, my question is, what are your childhood crushes? And I know Josh's.
And I am going to tell you mine. It's Topanga.
No,
Boy Meets World. That's all I want to talk about.
You have to say all of them. Just give the people what they want.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna say it.
How dare you? You're outing me.
Okay, I'm saying it anyway. So
wait.
You got me too, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you? This is offensive.
But it's so good.
No. If I going to talk about my crushes, it's my people to talk about. Okay,
that's no fun. Okay, well, I'll tell mine. Okay, mine were Jonathan Taylor Thomas, JC Chavez from NSYNC, Antonio Banderas,
cool.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez is my forever number one. Who am I missing? Oh, the kid that plays Casper, and he's also in The Little Giants.
That plays Casper.
He's like a blonde.
He has a 1 minute segment in the actual movie.
But then he's in The Little Giants with the icebox.
But where do you have your biggest crush on him from?
What do you mean?
Casper or Little Giants?
Both. No, Casper.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. Well, because
he was in the movie Casper?
Yeah, at the very end with Christina Ricci.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
let's hear Sergio's.
Yeah, I want to hear Sergio's.
Well,
childhood. So let's say let's put like a timestamp on it. Okay. So anything under let's say before puberty. So like before 11. Like
I would say
or like right at puberty. So like 12.
7th grade and lower.
7th grade and lower.
How about that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
7th grade and lower.
Okay.
Oh, you know I also had Jennifer Love Hewitt. Okay,
can I say the other ones?
Wait, hold up. Also, counter to Antonio Banderas.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones was a big one for me as a kid. Thank you for
Okay, what about the other ones?
Lucy Liu was a big one.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay, here's the thing. Titanic was a big movie.
Uh-huh.
No, I wasn't into Rose. Or Leo, for that matter, if you're wondering. But maybe I had a small crush on Celine Dion as a kid.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's my favorite one.
Okay. Are you happy?
Yes.
Is that what you wanted to hear?
It's such a great crush.
God. See? Now you guys know why I talk all this shit about MJ. You know how often she brings this up? Look, here's the thing. If MJ knows something annoys me, she loves it. It's like her favorite thing. She's like, oh, this annoys you? Can I just do it all the time? Always, forever?
But having a crush on Celine Dion is just so great.
Well, my heart will go on.
Is it
And
okay?
it did go on, and that's how I met you. So you're welcome.
Because I look just like Celine Dion.
No, I said my heart will go on, as in I left her behind.
Ah. And I look just like Celine Dion, like a Nicaraguan version
That's true.
of Celine
You
Dion.
get that a lot. You always get that.
People are always confusing me.
Sorry, Sergio. Back to you. But you look like you're pulling up like a list on your phone. You're like,
I had to look up and see, like, okay, what 90s shows are out there, because that's what I
you know
have
who
to
else
base
is
it on.
kind of cute? Real quick, there was a girl on Step by Step, the tomboy one.
Oh, yeah.
The blonde one?
Al.
No, the brunette one.
Al, the
Oh, wait.
youngest one, right? Or the pretty one, Karen?
Wait,
No,
let me look up.
she
The
was-
tomboy, that was Al.
I don't know, maybe. That was the one I was into.
Al. I don't know why you guys are both on your phones. I'm telling you right now, her name was Al.
Don't trust
But I
you.
just don't remember what she looked like.
Oh my God.
Al? Okay, let me look.
Yep, that's the one. Was she blonde?
No, she's brunette.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Like a
her.
dirty blonde.
Yeah,
That was the one I was into.
for sure.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the girls I was into were a bit tomboyish. like
Like
of,
Celine Dion.
No, like of like the girls like in my like school.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like in elementary school, it was always like a girl that could also play baseball or something with the boys.
Like the ice
Soccer
box.
with the boys.
Like, yeah, exactly. Speaking of little giants, yeah.
All right, go, sir. We were just doing that because we know how long it takes you to answer.
As we learned from last episode, yeah. Well, yeah, you got your Topangas out there.
I feel like Topanga means so much to so many young boys. It's true. Oddly enough.
She grew up in front of our eyes. Yeah.
All women have to compare to Topanga.
It's kind of true. Then you got your Winnie Coopers out there too.
Wait, which one's that?
Which one's
From,
Whitney Cooper?
Sounds familiar.
From Wonder Years.
Whitney Cooper?
Winnie.
Okay. Winnie?
Yeah. What's her face from Home Improvement? Not Pamela Anderson, the other one. Heidi.
Weren't they all
She was
Heidi?
No, I don't know what. I don't remember what Pamela Anderson's name was on there. But
I always thought they
But I
all-
always liked the other one more.
They always just had like a
brunette.
Who else was
red
on?
hair.
Wasn't like Carmen Electra one of them too? Like I felt like a lot of like the pretty girls ended up being like
Was she on Home
the
Improvement?
assistant to Home Improvement.
I thought it was
Look
just.
it up.
Oh, I remember Heidi. Yeah, she was beautiful.
Improvement.
We're all on our phones.
All right.
I don't think she was on it.
Maybe not. Maybe you're right.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that was her. Holy shit! It's weird when you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Carmen Electra.
No, like
Oh.
I saw Heidi because I feel like I know how Carmen Electra looks, but like Heidi, you're like, oh yeah,
I just looked her up. I'm like,
That was the girl.
Yeah. It's funny though because like Josh's crushes were always besides Topanga, were always like women, and you're
Yeah.
like, you're like a kid,
Uh-huh.
but he had a crush on like one of them was Gina from Martin Show,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
and
though.
like what's it, Rosie Perez.
Oh,
Rosie
that's a good
Perez.
one.
Hey, boom.
But it's
Sergio
all
got
like
smart
those
back.
are women. It's weird. But as like a
Oh,
little
is
boy.
it?
Well, I always had crushes on like besides Antonio Banderas, I always had crushes on like boys that were my age
and you know what
on the
happens?
shows.
Right.
You know what happens is we go to Whole Foods, right?
Oh.
Whole Foods. We go to Trader Joe's,
Okay.
and in the fucking line, the cashier person.
Uh-huh.
If you look at this kid, he looks like a fucking Jonathan Taylor Thomas. He even acts like one.
He's wearing like a shell necklace and everything.
He looks like he took a time machine.
Does he have a flannel shirt tied
He
around
did.
him?
He had a flannel shirt.
He had the hair parted in the middle.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my god.
And
He was like super friendly.
MJ had a full-on girl boner for him. And it's like this thing where it's like, at least I can say that as a grown adult, if I saw my my childhood crush come into the world, it's not a child, it's a grown woman. Where,
Hey, that kid was probably at least 19.
who knows? Like if MJ sees like a Jonathan Taylor Thomas when he's like 12, MJ might go full P. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Trying to think of like women that I liked. I liked what's her name, Aunt Becky from Full House.
Aunt Becky.
Oh, Aunt Becky.
Yep, Aunt Becky. Free Aunt Becky.
Free Aunt Becky. That's right.
Free the homie. She ain't no snitch, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
She ain't no Takashi. She's still loyal to those around her.
She ain't
So
no.
respect.
What's her name?
Put some
Was it
respect on her
Felicity?
name.
Was it Felicity Huffman? Is that the one the one who ratted everyone out?
I don't know. Was it?
I think so.
Oh, fuck her.
What's her name's what's his face's wife from Fargo, actually, the movie. What's his name? I forget.
Isn't I know you're talking about the guy from Shameless.
Yeah.
His wife.
Yeah.
She ratted people out?
I think so, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
I think that's why she's not in jail.
Oh, she's not?
Yeah. Or like she just like had a fine or something like that.
Oh, whatever. So you got her.
Anyways,
So
yeah.
Aunt Becky.
Uh-huh.
You had Topanga. Who'd you have? Full House.
Heidi from Full House.
Or from
Home Improvement.
Or Home Improvement.
I like.
You know what's interesting is Home Improvement. Although the show had to do with like improving your home, he never fixed his house once.
That's
He's
true.
working on a goddamn car the whole time.
I think that's part of the joke, right? Because Al Borland was the one who was actually like the handy guy.
That's true.
So what is that? The 90s?
Yeah.
90s. Okay, 90s.
Because it would have to be like.
What about like
90?
I didn't even think about Baywatch people. I feel like
Yeah, that was a little bit later.
Oh, I had a
I was a little
crush
older.
on the main guy from Saved by the Bell.
Oh,
Zach
Yeah,
Morris.
did you not have a
there you
crush
go.
on the
There's
cheerleader?
what's her name?
Oh yeah, what's her face? What's her real name? Elizabeth Berkley. I think Lisa was my favorite of the three.
Is she the one with
Mario
the light
Lopez's
eyes?
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was.
So you were being a real screech.
Yeah, exactly. What's her name? I liked.
Oh, I always had a crush on in Blossom. This guy, the older brother. He was in a bunch of different shows.
Oh yeah, Joey or whatever. Whoa.
I always thought he was really cute.
I remember when I was a kid, I hated him. I hated that whole like whoa thing. I hated his hair. It was like so much about him I hated. I was like, God, this guy's the worst. I didn't even like Blossom. I remember watching the show and being like, this show sucks.
a lot of those shows I just watched because they weren't on.
Yeah.
Like Blossom was definitely one of those for me.
All right, you're really fucking up our minisodes. We're supposed to have a topic to talk about.
It is. This is childhood crushes. That's the topic.
Okay, I suppose that. Okay, sure. What's our structure? We have a topic.
We have an art topic and a question,
which is
neither of which I was prepared for. So
I know. Let me see if I get. Well, we'll just say this is a topic. I got some questions. Oh, I got some questions.
Oh, I like the older brother from Boy Meets World.
Yeah,
Eric.
We get it. You like.
They all look the same. They're just different versions of each other.
Yeah, you like white guys with parted hair.
That's all I was given during the 90s.
Okay.
Besides Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
What about fucking what's his name from Sister? What about
Omarion?
No, not Omarion. Fucking what's his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. What's his
Go
name?
home. Go home. Whatever.
Roger. That's Omarion. I thought.
Roger.
No, that's what's his name? Like Marquise something or other?
Houston something.
Yeah,
I think he's his brother.
Marcus Houston. Yeah.
I think he's brothers with Omarion. They're related somehow.
I don't think they're related. I think he started B2K, but I don't think.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Wait, so what's the structure?
But wait, no, I'm just trying to prove you wrong. What about anyone from Family Matters? What about anyone from? What about Will Smith? What about?
I always thought he was kind of annoying.
Okay, what about Carlton? What about
Carlton? Are you kidding
what about
me?
What about
You know who I liked?
What
I
about
liked Martin
Jazzy
from the
J?
Martin Show. I liked Martin.
Was he a crush though, or did you like him?
I think he was a crush, but
I
not
don't
as big
think so.
crush as the other
I don't
ones.
think so.
Benny the Jet. Do I need to repeat that?
I guess Benny Jet works. I guess. Okay, you got one middle tone.
Oh, I liked the older brother from Smart Guy. I thought he was cute.
I never saw that show, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no one had cable here.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot
Is that a Disney show? I don't even know.
All right, so on to the next thing, which is
What was your? Did you find the topic?
question. I got nothing. We're supposed to have a fan question, right?
Yeah, which I did not ask for.
What pencil do you use? Fan question. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I can look through my DMs. I'm sure I have a question.
Well, let me ask you guys this: because I was talking about this on like a video that I was doing for YouTube, but so many of like beginner artists will ask you what materials you use and like, like you said, what gesso do you use? But if you were do you think that you could still produce, like, say you had an art show and all you could use was like how Blake Newbert uses just Walmart paint and all you could do is go to Walmart and use their materials, do you think you would still produce a strong show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would just
be miserable.
Yeah, it would just be more difficult.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you'd still be able to do it.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the quality of the materials does allow you to do things that you want to do. I mean, I just don't think that it's like the issue is that people think it's going to solve their problem.
Right.
I mean, I get the, like, I remember when I was younger and I would see someone using something, I would geek out and try to figure out what they were using. But then I think there's a moment where you realize, like you might think that this is the cure to your problem and you might get that thing. And then you realize your shit still sucks. So
Right. Well, there's people creating amazing artwork with just big pens.
Sure. Yeah,
So
I love
it's
a
like-
big pen.
Yeah.
A big pen is actually an awesome tool.
Big pen. I love like those fat Crayola markers. You know what I'm talking about? They look like they're just a triangle tip.
Yeah.
I remember for like a month or something while doing like in my like high school days while doing graffiti, I bought a pack of that and I fucking loved them because they go fat to thin so easily.
Oh, right.
And I did a bunch of shit with it that I was like really happy with. Like it was the shit I was the most proud of at the time, using the shittiest products. And I remember I bought like a set of Prisma color pencils from my friend, thinking that was going to solve all my problems, and that did not do anything. Those shitty Crayola markers did.
You know what we should do is curate a show, and you hand every artist one of those like artist kits that's like, it's a plastic like briefcase that you open and it's got like tiny little markers and
the ones that every artist got for like Christmas presents.
But everybody gets one of those, and this is what you use to create your art. And you just mail it to everybody, and then you have to like pry it open like and then you've got your itty bitty little markers and your itty bitty little colored pencils with your watercolor and your brush that's like worked into it.
So would you have to use that brush?
Yes.
Oh my God. That sounds terrible.
I just think it'd be such an interesting show and see what people create. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think it'd be hilarious.
It'd be a fun show, but it's like...
It'd be miserable.
Like, when are you going to fit that into your schedule, really?
Right. It'd just be for fun.
Yeah. I think that's the issue. I mean, that's the other thing is like, you don't want like all this shit is like all the cheap shit is meant to like break down faster.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to be archival at all.
Yeah. And I mean, you can argue about archival or not, but at the least you don't want to like see it 3 years from now and be like, oof.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's not even...
That's exactly what's going to happen with those markers.
Like, it didn't even last like a little bit past the creation time, let alone like, like, let's say archival is so it exists for hundreds of years. It's like, Well, it didn't even last 3.
Yeah,
Fuck.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always. I think doing those exercises are always fun. Like,
Yeah.
It'd be super fun to do for
Yeah.
sure.
I think it'd make like a good YouTube video.
yeah,
Like,
Right.
I don't know.
sure.
It'd be a good exercise to see, just to prove like you could still create something good.
Yeah.
Or at least as a beginner artist, you could go, like I told you, I listened back to a few episodes and listened to Blake Newbert, and he was saying
Yeah.
like he goes to Walmart while he goes shopping. He's like, maybe I should get some paint.
Right.
And it's like, holy shit, you're just getting Walmart paint.
Right.
But if you're not, like, if you're a beginner artist, or how he does like the scrapeaways, like, why use good paint?
Sure. My first time using oil paint was from Walmart, and I remember I treated
What brand was it? Do you remember?
Georgia or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Georgia. Yeah.
And I remember I treated them so precious, like they were like, but they were also like I was poor as shit, and like
Right.
I got like a gift card from like my youth pastor, and and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a sketchbook and some oil paints, obviously.
That's
And I
awesome.
thought it was like fucking and like one of those like paint brush sets, it's like
What did you like? What was your surface you painted on? for
the
those?
first surface I painted on was the couch outside of our house.
You painted on the couch?
Well, it was like a couch that was like a thrift store couch that we were throwing away. That was the first thing I painted on. It was like
You
cloth.
took your oil paints and
And I painted on it.
That's awesome.
And I was like, cool. And then my dad worked construction, so I cut up some of his drop cloth stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I built
That
my
works,
own
huh?
canvas around like an old paint frame that
Yeah,
was wooden, and I just pulled the canvas as tight as I could and stapled it with a
There you
normal
go.
stapler. And that was my second time I painted on something with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I painted
How old
on
were
a lot
you?
of, high school.
Okay.
I painted a lot of like dresser bottom drawer, like the thin
I did that
sure.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
that I did a lot of. It was a lot of like found shit, like that was like my early stages. It was like I did a lot of house paint stuff. I did a lot of pen stuff. I did a lot of paper, like pencil stuff. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like sure, like the thing you're using, the quality of the thing you're using helps. But when you're trying to learn, you should be trying to learn on the smallest amount of money possible.
Right.
Because a pencil's a pencil at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
Sure, you can get a larger range of values if you learn like the softness of lead, and then you can buy a range and play around with that. But like at the end of the day, buy a number 2
A number
HP
2
pencil,
is very solid,
perfectly
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And I can do whatever I want to do with that now. And if you're learning, you can do whatever you want to do with it then.
Oh, yeah.
Same with like pens. It's like you can get the microns or whatever, the brush pens or whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you have a fucking big pen. You can do anything you want. There are people that build an amazing body of work off of a big pen. There's no reason you couldn't do the same thing. It's like sure, a brush pen helps you with certain things and can allow you to pursue doing things, like where you break down, like you're not rendering anything. You're just kind of going with like as simple of line as possible or something like that. You can do that shit with a Crayola marker too.
Yeah.
A fucking fat, pointy tip chisel marker. You can get those same kind of lines you want with a Crayola marker.
Yeah.
You really can. From fat to thin, which is the advantages of having a brush pen, is that you can go from as fat as a line to as thin as you want. And you can pretty much do that with the Crayola marker. It's like if you're relying on like the product to save you from your skill level, you're
Right.
you're very confused.
Right.
And you're looking for an excuse for why you suck.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to, right? Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking, because I did like a whole video, but the other thing that I thought that was interesting is like you can also just go, like Josh and I love going to like garage sales and estate sales, and you realize that people are always getting rid of art materials. So if you're a beginner artist or trying to be on a budget, then go to these places, because there's a ton of people that they're like, today I'm an artist and go and spend $200 on art materials and then they're just tossed out.
What's the best thing you guys found, like as far as art materials?
I think Josh found he's found more like tools, like woodworking tools or sculptural tools.
This, like, not this last week, but the week before that, I went to an estate sale without MJ. Shh, don't know. But
that's okay. She outed your crush, so you can say whatever.
Yeah, but like they had like the lead for like the kind of like the pencil feeder ones, like the thicker lead.
Sure.
And they had like decent brands, all of them for like the packs were $1 each, and I looked them up and they were like $12 each. And I was like, cool. I just bought like all of them they had. Spent like, I don't know, $15, but it's like
$100 worth of materials.
15 times 12, you know, it's like, cool. I just spent $15 on $100 worth of stuff. It's like, I can't beat that discount.
But like a lot of the time,
and that's online price too. That's not even like art store price.
But a lot of the time, it's like we won't pick up, like there'll be like bags full of watercolors. It's like I'm not going to use those. You know, you're just.
But I have a bag full of gouaches that I.
Oh, that's right. He bought gouaches.
For like $3. Yeah. It's like a bag full of them. Yeah. And like, cool.
How
I
are
squeeze
they?
Them. They all feel soft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, because that is the one problem with gouache. It will kind of, it'll get hardened.
But every time I see them, like there are paints I have from like shit like that I've used over the years. Like I've had them before I even started like doing, like when I was doing mixed medium stuff. I have like oil paints from like before that were from like people like getting rid of them, and I got it for dirt cheap or even for free sometimes. And it's like cool. I use them today in my work, and it's like, you know, I don't know. It's like you find a way. You know, it's like poor Josh painting on a couch. Like you'll find a fucking way to like do what you want to do. Don't blame your growth as an artist on like not having the right fucking instrument or something like that.
Right.
Like, just keep working at it. You'll be fine. Exactly. Especially nowadays, you got YouTube to fucking.
Seriously.
By the way, go ahead.
There are certain materials that are very expensive to try and figure out, and the only one I can think of is spray paint. Because how do you get good at spray paint without stealing it?
I was gonna say,
and spending hella money, right? Because it's like
there are other ways. I mean, sneaky ways. Where you're not necessarily stealing, but you're not paying their asking price. But
okay,
so you buy a $1 can, right? So you go to self checkout. You have 100 cans that are not priced at $1, and then you have $1 can, quick color. Shout out to everyone who knows this hustle. And you scan that can, and you just keep putting the other. So you do it with two people. So what you do is you pretend you have this one can in your left hand, and you graffiti people out there, and you scan it. And when you scan it, your buddy hands you the other can, and you put it in the fucking weigh section. And you just keep doing it over and over and over again, and you get every can for $1.
There you go.
And you're technically paying for it, but not really. You're not being fully honest. You're being a storyteller. This is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Telling a story. You're stretching the truth.
You're like, I didn't know they were different prices.
Did I pay for it? Yes. Did I pay full price for it? No. Was it on sale? No. You know what I mean? But yeah, what the fuck was I about to say before you said that? I don't know. It was something.
We were talking about artists not blaming the materials on
I don't remember.
Not being good.
I don't remember. Don't really care. It wasn't. It's probably super important, but you had to say whatever you want to say. So. But yeah.
But like I get questions online about like how do I fix this drawing, and it's something that I still several years into my art career that Josh yells at me all the time, where it's like you started wrong, right? You already started with a bad drawing, like
MJ
your drawing's off.
What was that?
There will be people asking me like, how do I fix this painting? And it's like, there's no way to fix it. You've already started your drawing wrong. you know, and like that's something that Josh has told me, and it's like, I don't know how to fix this. You've started your drawing wrong. So it goes back to like,
is that what they're asking? They're like, how do I fix this painting? The eye is wrong or whatever. Sometimes,
yeah, like something, or they can't see what's off with a painting, and they'll send me pictures. But it's like, you kind of need to start over, you know, like that's really hard to listen to when you've gotten almost to the end and it doesn't look right. Yeah. You know, but it's one of those hard truths.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
You have to start over. It's like you have to catch that error before you get there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you don't, there's consequences to be had.
Right.
And then you get another step, and you have to be like conscious the whole way through of like your procedure. That's why like my OCD kicks in so hard. It's like every time it's like, and that's why I love art so much, is because it's so much of problem solving, and the problem never ends until you finish. So it's like sometimes motherfuckers get too lazy halfway through. It's like you're not done yet. The problem's still to be fucked. It's like, but if you start off in a spot where you fucked up in the very beginning and you keep going, I mean, sure, you could probably, you know, smash yourself back to a decently acceptable painting. But it's like, but you're not correcting that flaw, the flaw of starting off in a shitty spot.
Right.
So the way to correct that is by saying, fuck, I fucked up in the beginning. Got to start all over. And, you know, and then keep doing that till you understand the importance of that. Then you get to the next step and you get good at that step, and you always are trying to like get better at each step of a painting. Because I mean, we all know that there's fucking many steps to a painting. Everyone knows that ugly stage of a painting where you're like, well, I think I got something good here, but I don't know yet.
Right.
I was talking to I think his name is Justin Hollinsworth.
Yeah.
And
God damn it, I was trying to think of go ahead.
He's a local Santa Rosa artist, but I forget how it came up, and I was telling him like, I don't know what I'm doing ever. You know, it's not till towards the end of a painting that I feel comfortable, but like and you know, like the drawing, that's one stage. I'm like, okay, cool. But then you start painting, I'm like, I forgot how to paint. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, he's like, oh, well, you look like you know what you're doing. And I'm like, kind of, but it's always like and I don't know if it's just me, but I'm always just like stressed out up until the end, and then I'm like, okay, I kind of like 3/4 of the way I'm like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing, and then there's that final little bit where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing again.
Do you think that's a necessary step for you, or do you feel like you wish you were doing it a different way?
I don't know. I think it's just me as a person. I've got a lot of self-doubt. I don't know if I'll ever not feel that, because it's happened with every painting. Like there's never a painting where I'm like confident all the way through.
Okay.
So it's just, I think that's just me. And it's the same thing with like any like art, like public art, the same thing.
Do you feel that way while you're painting?
No, I think what ends up happening is like I'm painting, and it's almost like you go into like your body's just doing whatever, like you're not thinking about it, and then you stop to think about it, and then those moments where you stop and analyze what you've done in the last 5 hours, then that's where I'm questioning everything. Right.
Well, I think that's kind of normal. Like I think I don't know, I think when you're painting, there's like a weird like natural kind of like
it's autopilot.
Yeah, like
it's like driving.
Muscle memorization type shit. Like you're just kind of doing what you're doing, and you're reacting, and you're like looking and like whatever you're referencing, and then just kind of doing it.
Yeah.
But you're not like thinking about it. You're just doing it, and then. But there's plenty of times where people are like, "Oh, this looks amazing! I can't wait to see the finished product." And I'm like, hopefully, in my head, I'm like, hopefully, I don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like that's because I know that there's always a potential of fucking it up, and I never know if I'm gonna nail the thing. It's like, I hope I don't mess this up, and then you're doing it, and you're like, all right, I did it. Yeah, of course I could. Of course, I'm hella dope. Shout out to Monty.
Well, it's also interesting because it's Wendy Ortiz. I think I've mentioned this before, but she has a ton of, like, I think she has a lot of artwork that's unfinished. So it's to that point before. So say like you're painting a figure, she'll get to where she's done with the figure but hasn't finished like the background, which is like what ties the painting together, and it's that last like 20% to finish it. And she'll stop there and then start another painting. So she has like this full room of like unfinished work. But it's like, because that's the hardest part, right? That's like, for me, that's how I go about it. It's like, I've got a painting, the figure's done, that was really fun. Now I've got to do that last 20%. That's what may make or break this painting, right?
I don't know if you watch it at all, but I've been watching what's his name? Nicholas Uribe's
his YouTube
channel, which has been
I've been catching it here and there.
Yeah, it's been cool to watch. But one of the things I caught on his videos, he was like, yeah. So what I like to do is he's like painting the background, and he's like, there's many ways you can do this. He's like, but the reason I do the background is because I found that like, when you're painting the figure, you're really enjoying it and you're doing it. And then once you finish, then you don't have any incentive to finish the background. So it's like, so what I do is I put the background first because it gives me incentive to get to the part I want to do or whatever.
Smart.
And I was like, that's kind of a interesting, like, good way to go about. Like, it's one of those things where, I mean, in the last episode, we talked about like how I think there's a right and wrong way to do things. I don't necessarily think that all the time, but I think you have to have purpose for why you do what you do.
Right.
You know, and if the purpose is valid, then I'm like, cool, do that. Like, even if it's different than me, go ahead and do whatever the fuck that is, because you have a reason why you're doing it that is valid. And when I heard that, I was like, that's a really good reason why you would want to do it that way.
Well, you kind of do that anyway. It's funny because you've given me that same advice, but it's you've heard somebody else say it, so it sounds new to you. But you've given me that advice.
What?
To work on the paint on the background before I work on the figure, or at least during the figure.
Yeah, I probably taught Nicholas. No big deal.
But I mean, I know sometimes you just need to, like, you don't always listen to your own advice, but you do that anyway. Like, you work on your backgrounds before and during while you're working on the figure.
Yeah, I'm working on a bunch of paintings of animals right now, and I started. I draw out the animals first, and then the first thing I do is put in the background colors. And the reason I do that for myself is so that I know I can kind of judge where I need to go with the colors of the animals. Like if I have the value in relative color of the background around it, then it's easy to like plop in the colors of the animal around it. It's easy to judge against it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, even for me, I don't really work fully on the background, but the whole time I'm thinking about the background while I'm working on the figure. And sometimes I'll work on the background only because I'm like unsure. So I'll go like, oh, I think this is what I want to do. And I'll put it in really quick just to be like, yep, that works. Okay, let's keep moving forward. You know? But I think I think a lot of times if you're probably having issues with your background, it's because you're so hyper focused on, if you're doing like something with a main figure, it's like all I'm thinking about is this main figure that I'm not even, then once you get past that, you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? It's like, you should have been thinking about that the whole fucking time, because, you know, like you have to kind of, like, for me, the background is like the most funnest, trickiest part to my piece. So I'm always like, I can't wait to get to the background. Like I'm like Nicholas Uribe's reason for why he does the background first isn't a good reason for why I would want to do it, because I'm looking forward to that part. You know, it's almost like the figure is playing with the background, but that's really where the story develops for me. And so for me, I'm like, can't wait to get to that background. So sometimes I have to like hold off on that, because I'm like, if I do the background, I'm not going to want to fucking finish his figure, because I already got past the parts that I really like.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd say that's opposite of most people.
Yeah, well, most people can go fucking shit them again. I mean,
I heard you loud and clear.
I always love that joke, because Josh said he used to do that to his mom.
What?
because he knew he couldn't talk back to her, so he'd be like, I always like picturing little Josh, because little Josh has his face just same head size, just like 3 feet.
That's funny.
You look like Dennis the Menace, the like brown one.
Have you ever met little Sergio? Because he looks cool.
Yeah, that is little easel.
I want to see baby pictures or kid pictures of Sergio. Josh just looks like a little white boy that turned Tongan later.
I had that privilege back then. You know what I mean? I was over there just cashing checks. All right. So, do we have time to say what we hate?
Sure.
So we have a hate segment.
We have anything you hate. This what is it? It's like a rant section.
Some shit.
Come on, talk some shit.
There we go.
Nice.
Talk some shit segment for this week.
What
anything that's annoying the shit out of you.
I'm sure that you guys talked about the banana.
Oh yeah.
Like the hating the banana.
No, we loved it. We both loved it.
That's old news.
I know.
Put a little peanut butter on that bitch.
Yeah. We sold them at the studio. The open studio.
Yeah.
Me, no hate, but I just love art that has like a really deep meaning to it, especially if it's political. I love that shit. Especially when I see it every day in my on my way up to my my studio space and all that. So
are you getting a lot of political art right now in your what are those things called when there's like a bunch of people shared studios or something?
Sure, yeah. Studio space. Yeah.
You know, a lot of like
lots of cool artists. Yeah, lots of cool stuff like what do you call them? The paper targets at like shooting ranges, when they're trying to make like a deep statement about, guns and all that. That's all. I love that.
Yeah. 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 I mean, God, I forgot I wanted to bring this up. Like I didn't want to bring it up on the mini-sode, but I wanted to bring it up on our actual podcast about political art and like the damage it does to actual art.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean.
Because of this idea I have around storytelling and the importance of it in art.
And like how most political art is like very ham-fisted.
And because I think a lot of people sway away from narrative work.
Right.
And a lot of the reason why is because of its heavy-handedness. And I think a lot of it has to do with political artists. I think they're the ones that make narrative work seem shitty.
Right. Yeah.
I
know exactly what you mean.
But yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, in this heightened political stage, it is even worse. It's weird. It's weird. This heightened political shit we live in nowadays. It's a weird thing where, if you just kind of think about how much attention politics kind of forces people to have, it's pretty annoying because it's like, you're not that fucking important. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there is this weird, like, of course there is an importance to it, but the amount of time people are spending nowadays on it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Doesn't show how important it is to your life. It's like, if you're spending all of your time fucking being angry or whatever about this, it's like, you realize that they are
life.
Yeah. Like, you have way more important things. Not just better things, more important things. It's like that weird argument where people are like, oh, well, this isn't important. Well, then fucking like the suffering of man isn't important. You're like, relax. It's the amount of time we're spending on a thing that probably isn't going to do much.
Right.
Has to my life. Or the things I can change.
Yeah, exactly.
And have, importance in.
Yeah, I guess that's partly what's annoying about it to me is that like the amount of time people spend on not actually doing anything about it. It's like how much it lets them take over their life without being like, it's like if somebody's, to me, it's the same thing as if you actually let like your favorite team losing like affect your life.
Pretty much. It's a weird thing. I mean, right before we came here, we went downtown to go get breakfast. And they were having that like a woman's thingy, like a woman's protest thing.
Sure.
And, you know, that caused me and MJ to have a conversation. And I was kind of like the whole time like, this is so like blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and MJ, and then it made me seem at some point, I think MJ was like, well, they can do whatever they want. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not against that. I don't think it's the most productive way. If you feel a certain way, I don't even think going to like a protest is the most productive way to resolve this issue. Like there's nothing productive about it.
Yeah.
It's just everyone patting themselves on the back, pretending that they're doing good by doing what they're doing. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that's doing it. Like, I don't think anyone outside of that, like, the only reason I knew that was happening was because I had to go get breakfast.
Right.
If I wasn't there, it would have zero effect on my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's almost like a public club meeting.
Yeah.
What it turns out to be.
It's like a thing where it's like, you guys are just cheering for a team in a random circle. I mean, like, there's not even a game going on. I mean, there's a game going on, I guess, but it's like, it's not happening yet. You guys just met to like, what is it called when you're like in outside of a game and you're barbecuing? Like
tailgating.
Tailgating. The game hasn't even started yet or something.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's like a weird thing. I don't know. You can have any political belief you want, and I can disagree with you fully on it, and be okay with whoever the fuck you are. I just. I'm not saying anyone shouldn't do what they're doing. I just think it's one of those things. It's like political art. Go back to that. You're letting politics define what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The story you want to tell is now defined by some motherfuckers that you don't even know.
Right. Yeah.
Not your experience, not the people around you. Some other motherfuckers. To me, that's so dumb and so depressing and so I don't know. It's like, that's a story. You don't even know those motherfuckers. Just because they got some beliefs that you might agree with or disagree with. It's like, it's the same with religious art. You're going to let your art be defined by a dude that died on the cross that you don't fucking know, and you probably don't agree with everything that motherfucker believed in. You know what I mean? It's like I don't like any of that shit. Like, tell a story. The best stories told are usually something that you have some kind of knowledge about. Do you know what I mean? Tell the story you know.
But you don't understand, Josh. I talk to God every day, so I know exactly.
All right. That motherfucker ever talk back? Goddamn.
In my heart.
I suppose so. Yeah. What are you angry about, MJ?
I don't know if you guys had already talked about this, but I am angry at the regurgitation of all the fucking Bay Area, not Bay Area, but like Sonoma County art. I'm sure you guys have talked about this.
Not really, and probably not.
Because, I mean, I don't know. So we did a mural. That mural had, we were told that had a very high potential of getting painted over because it had gotten a few complaints.
We've talked about that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But what they were going to paint it over, when I first went to meet up with essentially the county to talk about,
and they were going to paint it
over. I saw the mock-up ideas.
Yeah. So there, I told them, like, you know what, because they were saying like there's people triggered and offended. It's like, well, I'm triggered and offended by all the regurgitation of rose art and vineyard art and hot air balloon art that's here. And
that's true.
when they have all these essentially mock-ups of what would cover our mural, it was exactly that. And that to me is offensive because
Right.
it's like you end up it's like HOA of art, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
if
It's like you're trying to brand the city in some way.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to offend
Homeowners
anybody.
Association, if you guys are wondering what HOA was.
Right.
The homeowners association is if you live in a community, you're forced to paint your color a certain
Your house
a certain color.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's
You have
not
to cut
much.
your lawn.
Yes.
You have to subscribe to a certain aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right,
Because anything that disrupts that is offensive and
Yes.
is not allowed.
So that's essentially like all of Santa Rosa art is in an HOA because they don't want anything different or to offend anybody. So what it ends up doing is just creating the same art over and over for the past 20 years that I've lived in this area.
We should start like a mural collective called HOA, and when they ask us what does that stand for, we go, it stands for how.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
yeah,
that's what I hate right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious because, like, we do this here, but like we have listeners everywhere. So I wonder, like we have
I'm
the
sure
weird
they
aesthetic
have,
of grapes and fucking
Right.
rolling hills.
Right.
Yeah,
No
we
diss
live
to rolling hills.
We live in
but it's like-
wine
But,
country.
Yeah, you could plug in whatever like community you're in. I'm sure they got like something going on there.
Yeah,
Like,
I wonder what like what's the like Transylvania? I wonder what the fuck their aesthetic is. They're probably hella dope. We should move there. They were like, oh, we only do vampires and dark shit. Be like, cool.
yeah.
Okay, I got something. Like, what city would we fit into the aesthetic of?
That's hilarious.
You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to paint cars, go to Detroit.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like that's like a question I never thought about till right now. I was like, is there a city that I would be like I would just fit in just right?
Well, probably like not America, like Europe.
But this is America.
I
Don't
feel
get
like
you slipping. Huh?
I feel like
I was trying to remember that.
Europe is
clear. Don't.
very open-minded. I was telling Josh I saw this mural that somebody painted in Europe that was literally just a penis, just a huge pink penis on the side of a wall.
They painted over it, and
did they?
That mural was garbage, anyways.
I thought it was great.
Why?
Progressive.
Okay, that doesn't make a mural great. I mean, just because you're progressive doesn't mean it's good.
I liked it.
I feel like they were doing it just for the shock and awe, and I was like, garbage.
Yeah.
Not a valid reason for a fucking mural. If anything, I think that's more like, the more I do public art, the more I'm like, I'm not trying to offend anyone in this fucking.
Right.
If people find offense to it, then that's their issue. But I'm not trying to offend anyone. If someone's trying to paint a fucking 12-foot long dick, they're trying to offend people. That's that's their intent. You know, I'm not down with that shit. It's like you hear it all the time with comedians when they talk, they go, I'm not trying to make anyone mad. I'm trying to make them laugh. If they get mad, I'm sorry. I can't control that. I just am trying to make people laugh.
Right.
That's the same thing I think of with when it comes to murals is if I think my job is to offend people, I'm fucking up. It's not that at all. And that lady's mural of painting a fucking large dick, if she thought it was to inspire or create awe, I think she's fucking lying to everyone or even herself. She was definitely trying to offend people. I'm not down with that shit one bit. Fucking offensive painting is boring as fuck to me, to be honest.
So you were offended by it?
I'm not offended. I'm not offended by a dick, but I could tell you right now that there are people that viewed that shit that got pissed off about it. I wouldn't be happy if a fucking wall around here got a 10-foot dick. I'd be like, what the fuck? And you guys were mad about my fucking mural?
Right.
Well, the whole reason I liked it is because it's like, first of all, I didn't know they had taken it down, but I thought it was hilarious because it's like,
It like went down like hours later.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I just thought, I was like, oh, cool. Like Europe, you could go over there and paint a dick. Like we're having issues with just painting like a lady, you know, like, so I don't know. I think that for whatever reason.
They obviously had issues too if it came down.
Right. I didn't know that. But I just think that like Brazil seems to be a really cool place to go paint. And you can kind of paint what you want in Europe. I also think that there's this huge lack of massive murals here. Like whenever you look online in Europe, it's full on like
that's true
skyscraper size murals, where here you see it sometimes, but very, very seldom. It's mostly in Europe. You'll get those big walls. Yeah. And that's why I get so frustrated when we get so much pushback from our public art, because it's like, I want to do that here. Why can't we? Like it really does.
Well, that shit didn't happen overnight. I mean,
right.
I've been following like graffiti shit. A lot of those people that do like the massive murals in there, like during the like 90s and early thousands, during the graffiti era, like a lot of those countries figured out a way to coexist with graffiti in a weird way, which allowed an environment where they were able to push their abilities to a next level. And America, we did the opposite. We saw graffiti, and the only thing we wanted to do was
cover it up,
stop it as fast as possible.
Right.
Like America created this art form, and they didn't fucking sway it towards one way. And what they ended up doing was they created it so illegal to the point where the only people doing it were bombers, which are people that do throws and tags. And the people that were trying to pursue a skilled version of it were slowed down way harder than the bombers. And what that created was an environment where the bombers became way more talented and way more respected than the other version. If that makes any sense. So like for instance, like tags and throws, to anyone who's knowledgeable about that world, you can see a very, very skillful, like if anything, America's the best at those two things. Like better than the rest of the world at tags and throws. That's what everyone copies us on those two things. Because those are the only two things that we were able to advance in. Because the environment that was set.
Because you have to work quickly.
Yeah, you have to work quickly. It's illegal. So people that are trying to do shit that takes a long time aren't allowed to do it unless it's a legal wall. So it slows everyone down.
I wonder what
where Europe did the opposite. They created environments where you can get good at your craft.
I wonder because I know that I forget who it was. Was it David Cho that got arrested in Japan for doing graffiti?
I don't want to talk about this boring ass story at all.
But I'm saying, okay. What I'm saying is, in Europe, what are the repercussions for doing graffiti? Is it way less of a punishment than here?
I don't know.
Because that would be it.
I know Australia had some strict shit. Japan had some strict shit. Brazil was chill. I think Europe is chill for the most part.
There's so much graffiti in Brazil, like actual like street art.
Yeah. Os Gemos. That whole group, Findak.
Oh yeah.
The whole like all those motherfuckers were doing, you know, and they have that other culture on top of that bitch.
Oh yeah.
Interesting enough, they're now beefing with each other because graffiti does that to each other. But,
well, that makes sense.
But yeah.
Did everyone say something they hated?
Yeah, I mean, I jumped on Sergio's, but I hate enough. You know what I mean? I hate enough on this podcast.
Well, we're almost at an hour anyway for a mini episode. So.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Mini half episode.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, we did it, guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you're still listening, you know,
Give yourselves a round of applause.
High five.
For making it this far.
Go do some graffiti.
Yeah.
All right.
Snaps.
Stop doing political art. Bye.